Another factor which has played big on the market, and that is North Korea. President Trump said yesterday military action is not the first choice in a range of options that the U.S. is considering. Joining us now, John Bolton, former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations and a Fox News contributor. Mr. Ambassador, do you think we should strike first?
Well, I think the use of military force is obviously not the first option, and there are diplomatic plays yet to be undertaken. Not with North Korea itself, but with China. But ultimately, I do think we've got to look very carefully at the use of a first strike because North Korea is determined to keep this capability of deliverable nuclear weapons, and I think it is unimaginable, as Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dunford, said a few weeks ago, unimaginable to leave North Korea with that capability.
So that means diplomacy will not work. In the end, it has to be the military. Basically, that's your position.
No, my position is that if diplomacy doesn't work and there are precious few options left, then I think when you judge your outcome to be the safety of the United States, then I think a preemptive strike is necessary. And I might say this is not a radical doctrine. I had an op-ed in the New York Post yesterday where I quoted Franklin Roosevelt in a fireside chat he gave on September the 11th. 1941, 2 months before Pearl Harbor, 60 years to the day before the 9/11 attacks, when Roosevelt said, when you see a rattlesnake poised to strike, you do not wait until he has struck before you crush him.
Point taken, Mr. Ambassador, point taken. Now, here's something that has not received wide attention, but I think it's important. Israel reportedly took out a military facility in Syria earlier today. The facility, we are told, had been used to make chemical weapons. What's your reaction to this, Mr. Ambassador?
Good for the Israelis. And I would say, since we've also had reports of Iranian missile production factories being set up in northern Lebanon and Syria, that they're likely targets for Israel, too. So while we're on the subject of a little history, yesterday was the 10th anniversary of the Israeli Air Force's destruction of a nuclear reactor being built in Syria. Being built by whom? Being built by North Koreans. What an amazing fact. You think they were in Syria because of their long historical and cultural association between the two countries? Somebody was paying the North Koreans to do that, quite likely Iran.
We seem to be on the verge of military action, escalating military action in various parts of the world. The threat level, the danger level, is clearly going up.
Well, the threat level that's going up is nuclear weapons in the hands of bizarre rogue governments like North Korea, like Iran. This is not anything the United States wanted, but after 25 years, roughly in both the case of Iran and North Korea, 25 years of failed efforts to persuade them to give up their nuclear objectives. That's why the Trump administration is faced with some very unappealing choices. And I tell you, you continue the policies of the past 25 years, you're going to get the same result. The threat will grow, not diminish.
The North Korean situation is the principal outstanding danger zone for the United States in the world today?
Well, I think in immediate terms, I think the longer-term strategic threat of China and of Russia remain very much in need of addressing. But certainly right now, we're looking at North Korea. We could see, for example, this Saturday, the Founders' Day, as they call it in North Korea, another ballistic missile launch, perhaps demonstrating again an increase in range. That's why the military option is something we have to look at, not because it's desirable, but because the president's first objective has to be the protection of innocent American civilians from this kind of nuclear terrorism.
Got it. Let's see what happens if they shoot off a missile on Saturday. Will we shoot it down? Mr. Ambassador, thank you for joining us, as always.